So you're a real estate agent that wants to deal with investors, but maybe you're thinking to yourself, I'm not an investor myself, so how am I supposed to advise investors? Or maybe you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to come off inexperienced or unqualified. Or maybe you're one of those agents that says, man, investments is very numbers heavy and I'm just not that good at numbers. Well, if that's you, then this video is for you. Welcome to another video of Mega Agent Academy. And in this video, we're going to be talking about why we as real estate agents should be trying to work with investors in every way possible right now. So if you haven't caught our videos before, please don't forget to like and subscribe below to all of the real estate related content that we're producing. We teach agents how to grow their business, whether you're new, whether you're a solo agent, whether you run a team. We help agents grow their businesses as well as grow their investments and wealth for the future. My name is Jared Davis, and today we're talking about investors. Now, the reason I wanted to do this, a couple stats that came across my desk recently that I thought were really impressive. And if you're an agent and you're not dealing with investors right now, I want you to listen to this. One is this: investors bought up a third of all homes in Q2 of 2025. Now let that sink in. That's 33% of all houses were purchased by investors. That's 345,752 homes. Now that's the highest share in the last 5 years. So this shows that this is the highest level that we've seen in 5 years. And right now, 1 in about 5 US homes is owned by an investor. So 33% of home sales in Q2 were purchased by investors. 1 out of every 5 homes is owned by investors. Now, you may also be thinking to yourself, well, is it these big giant companies, these corporations, the BlackRocks of the world? And the reality is that is just not true either. In fact, over 90% of investor-owned homes are mom and pop investors. What does that mean? Well, that means that it's landlords that control fewer than 11 properties. So it's the average investor. It's the person that's coming out and they're buying 1, 2, 3, 5 investment properties over the course of their lifetime. These are the investors that own 90% of all real estate. So why wouldn't we want to deal with them? Why wouldn't we be trying to reach out to these people? So what can we do if we want to work with investors? If we're newer agents, or maybe we're an agent that has some experience but isn't working with investments now? Well, the first thing is to educate yourself on simple terms. Now, this is something I come across on a regular basis, that agents are maybe used to contracts, they're used to showing homes, they're used to negotiating an offer on a normal house, but when it comes to things like investments, they don't know where to begin. They don't know how to talk to people as far as investing goes. So here's a couple terms I want you to put in your Rolodex as you start talking to investors. 1, ROI. Return on investment. It's a simple term, but essentially it's how much money am I going to make on my money, right? So if an investor puts $100,000 into a property and they make $20,000, what's their ROI? Well, it's 20,000 or 20%. So that would be the ROI. How much cash am I making on my cash? Now, what about cap rate? See, a lot of agents confuse ROI with cap rate. Now, the cap rate of a property is simply what percentage of cash you're going to make on the property after all expenses are paid if you paid cash for the property. So I want you to determine the difference between cap rate and ROI, because cap rate would be, again, if a property costs $500,000 and I can pay $500,000 for it, and I can make 6% on that $500,000, that's the cap rate. But see, if I'm not paying cash and I'm putting money down, let's say I'm putting $200,000 down, the cap rate's still the cap rate, 6%. But now if I'm putting $200,000 down, now I have a mortgage, now I have debt service, and I have to factor that in to the capital that I was going to be earning back. And once I subtract that out, that's what comes to my actual return on my money. Now we're back to ROI, or cash on cash return. So these are two really good terms, because one of the simple questions, and again, as you start working with investors, you need to learn how to ask questions. What is your long-term plan for the property? How much cash are you trying to make on your money? What's the cash on cash return that you're looking for? Is there a certain cap rate that you're looking for, right? And then you can start to make recommendations. Now, four of the easiest things to get into for newer agents that are looking to deal with investors, right? Rather than maybe moving on to something big or commercial or giant apartments or strip centers, if you're just a residential real estate agent, a couple of things you may want to talk to people about are, one, house hacking, right? Well, what is house hacking? Well, house hacking is somebody that's buying a house or maybe a duplex or a triplex and living in one unit and renting out the others while possibly fixing up that property. They're hacking to add value. They're staying in it typically long enough to not pay capital gains tax. See, if they live in the property for at least 2 years, then they can sell it without being taxed. That's house hacking. And for someone that's new to investing that wants to get into real estate, it's not a bad option if it's somebody that can move around a little bit and is okay with living in their investment. The next thing would be small multifamily. Anything under 4 units, so 2 to 4, duplex, triplex, quadplex, they all are residential properties still. So they don't have to get commercial financing. They are able to pull a standard residential style investment loan. And if it's a duplex, triplex, they could also have a residency loan if they wanted to live in a unit. So we know that multifamily is getting huge. With house hacking now, there's things like pad split where you can rent out different rooms in your house as well. So that's becoming larger and larger and larger. Short-term rentals, Airbnbs, we see that happening along college towns, cities, anywhere that there's good vacationing spots, anywhere where there's tourism in general, short-term rentals are now becoming a big thing. And then the last thing would be talking to people about the BRRRR strategy. If you don't know what the BRRRR strategy is, right? It's to buy a home, renovate it, rent it out, refinance it, and repeat. Now, back when rates were low, this was a very, very common strategy. It was something that lots of investors were doing as the market was rising, because you can essentially put capital into your property and fix it up and get a renter and then pull all of your capital back out. We'll do a whole video on the BRRRR strategy at some point, just so that we can explain it to you guys even better. So if that's something you want to get into, check out that video, or you can reach out to me as well. So keep in mind, if any of this stuff is hitting and you want to go more in depth, you're welcome to contact me directly. My contact information is at the bottom of the video. I can let you know exactly what it looks like to partner with us if you wanted to do something like that. Now, some things not to do, avoiding common mistakes. Do not overpromise returns. One of the things I see with new agents is they ask potential investor clients how much they want to make. And you'll find that an inexperienced investor has an insane thought on what they want to make on returns, right? I've talked to investors before that said, well, I'd love to make 100% on my money. And that's absolutely insane. But we also don't want to overpromise returns. So you probably want to do some market research, talk to other realtors in your area, find an investment chapter. I run an investment chapter called Grid in Richmond, Virginia and Virginia Beach. There's other Grid chapters around the country. I'm happy to connect you with one if you're not in our area and you're, again, reach out. I'll let you know. But find an investment chapter and find out what is a common cash on cash return on short-term rentals, on long-term rentals, right? The last thing you want to do is say, oh yeah, you'll definitely make 15%, 20% a year, and then you start to erode their trust, or you start to not be able to find them a deal that meets these numbers, right? So you really want to start to learn your returns, your numbers, and then again, work on that jargon, right? The cap rate. What is NOI, net operating income? What is GOI, gross operating income? How much money does it bring in? How much money does it net? And then you want to make sure that as you learn these things, you also explain it to others in a way that's easy to understand. Because assume, if you're watching this video and you know this already, don't assume the people that are calling you do. You may have to really break this stuff down for them. So just keep that in mind. So key takeaways. You're already an agent. This is what I try to get across to a lot of our agents that we coach. So many people don't want to deal with investors because they think, oh man, it's just not my wheelhouse, or I'd rather deal with somebody that's going to sell a high-end home, or it's not as sexy as luxury, right? But the reality is you already have access to MLS. You already have access to comps to be able to find deals with wholesalers, to be able to represent deals with contractors. So you're already equipped. Simplicity wins trust. So learn these terms, give people clear explanations, offer to be able to help people build credibility, and then think like an investor and start helping these people find deals. I'll close out with some ways that we help find deals. And again, I'll probably do another video on this too, but we use certain software and data to skip trace names, numbers, emails, and then we will go after pre-foreclosure lists, right? When we know foreclosures are coming down the pipeline, we will go after those foreclosures and we will reach out to the owners directly to let them know, hey, we see that your property is coming to auction. Would you consider a cash offer to keep you out of bankruptcy, to keep you out of foreclosure, to keep you out of, again, getting kicked out of your house, right? So we offer a solution, but just by doing that, not only do we have a steady range of flips that we're turning and renovating all the time, we can help families stay in their houses longer. We can give them the cash that they want and need, and we can get them into the transition. And then for the stuff that we don't want, we now have a house Rolodex, right? An archive of everything that we can send out to these investors that are interested in purchasing from us. So what that gives us is a steady line of clients all the time, because your residential client, we know that that guy is a one and done typically. They're gonna buy a house, or maybe they sell and buy, and then it's statistically at least 7 years before you hear from them again, if you hear from them again. But with an investor, you may have somebody buy a house from you every single month. You may have somebody that will buy a flip from you every month and then also needs to sell a house every month. We have certain flip clients that we flipped 20, 30 houses in 1 year for. So when you think about that volume, if you're an agent and you're doing less than 10, 20, 30 deals a year, this is a tapped market where once you build the trust, you build rapport, and it builds consistent future business. So keep that in mind. 33% of all homes sold in Q2 were to investors. 1 out of 5 homes in the United States right this second is owned by an investor, and 90% of those investors are mom and pop owner operators. So if that doesn't make you want to sell some investors, I don't know what will. So get to it. If you have any questions, if you'd like to know what does it look like to partner with us at eXp and how do we help you grow your business, whether you're helping investors or whether you want to become an investor, right? We own a fix and flip company. I've got over 300 apartment doors. If you're interested in investing in some of the deals that we have going on, feel free to reach out to me. You're welcome to set up a call. You can follow me on any of the links below, our Instagrams. You can set up a discovery call with us, but we appreciate you watching. Again, like and subscribe. This has been another video of Mega Agent Academy. Thanks for watching.